Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Burnett. I just thought I would go over a couple problems from yesterday before you started on your quizzes today, of some of the word problems that seem to be missed more frequently than some of the others. And I was pleased to see how many people did so well on the Microsoft forms with the percent proportion, but I felt like it was worth a go to just explain this one and point out some things that you need to think about when you actually have a word problem that you're dealing with. So Drake has a 15% discount for a video game. If the price of the game is $56, what will the amount of the discount be? One of the first things that I think that you need to make sure that you're doing is setting up the proportion correctly. I think the easiest place to start is where the percent actually goes. So I am going to go ahead and set my formula or my up over here. 100 always goes in the denominator below the percent amount, and we've been told in the problem it's 15%. Once you put the 15 over the 100, then you no longer need to be including that percent sign. When we are looking at what goes into the part and what goes into the total, we do try to look for some key words. The price of the game is $56. So a lot of you probably saw this is and said, here's is, I'm putting is up here. But that would be wrong. We're looking of the game, that's $56. So the total price of the game right now is $56, and it needs to go here. You don't have to include the decimal point and the zeros because they are just extra zeros that'll probably confuse you when you're thinking about money. So the thing that we're trying to find is what will the amount of the discount be? Okay, that's our unknown. So we use an X to represent that. What is 15%? I know that the game costs $56, so that's my total right now. I don't want to pay more for the game. I want to take this discount and pay less. So this is one of the times that when you have a word problem, you almost always want to use a little bit of common sense. What are they really asking me for instead of just putting numbers wherever? So the first step that I want to do, it doesn't matter whether I multiply these two together or these two together. I'm going to do these two together, the X times 100, and I'll get 100 times X is equal to 56 times 15. I'm going to use my calculator because that's an okay thing to do when we are working on proportion problems. We're more interested in you knowing how to do the setup than do you divide and multiply correctly at this point. So 56 times 15 is equal to 840. Now I have a one-step equation. My one-step equation, I want to always isolate the variable, so I am going to divide both sides by 100. 100 divided by 100 is 1, so I have 1x. And we know that whenever you have 1 times anything, it's just that number, so we're going to get rid of that. When I divide by 100, I can actually just move my decimal 2 places from the right to the left, or you can use your calculator, divide by 100, and you get 8.4. Because we're dealing with money, we know we always have dollars and then up to 99 cents, so we go ahead and add a 0. So the discount for the video game is $8.40. A lot of people said the discount was $373 because instead of putting the 56 here, they put the 56 up there. And then it became 15 times X is equal to 5,600 when I divide both sides by 15, then x would become, I'm going to use my calculator too, again, would be 373.33, and it keeps on repeating. But would it make sense for the discount to be more than the actual price of the game? So that's when you need to look at your problem and say, does my answer make sense? If my game costs $56, does 15% off, does that seem like a reasonable amount? $8.40? Well, 10% off would be $5.60. So yes, it does. If my game costs $56, am I going to pay more for it? I don't think so. So one of the things to remember is once you put this percent in the percent box, you only have two choices. If you did it wrong the first way, then you go, hey, that's crazy. No way. So it must mean I put 56 in the wrong place. All right. So let's look at another problem that you had from yesterday. And this was the problem about Mrs. Peterson's science classes and dissecting frogs. We want to always put down our percent proportion. And some of you may not need to be putting part and total all down again, but it never hurts to just pay attention to that. Is equal to percent over 100. These four things are never going to change their positions. 100 is always going there. So it really just leaves you three places to figure out where information needs to go. And most of the time, you're already given the percent. So we're going to do this one just like we did the one before. I'm going to set up my problem. I know that 100 goes in the denominator. I see that 84% goes in my percent section. But look at what that 84% goes to. 84% of the students have turned in their permission slips. She has collected 126 permission slips. Okay? This turned in and collected. These two words really kind of go together. And then my question says, how many students does she teach in all? Teach in all. Does that sound like the part or does it sound like the total? To me, teach in all sounds like the total. Okay? Even though I had this word of, okay, of the students, I might have said, ooh, there's 84% and there's of. But in this case, that clue word doesn't help us. This in all is what we need to pay attention to. So she has collected 126, 84% have turned them in. So the part is 126. And what I'm looking for, because here's my question word, how many? I don't know how many. That's my question. Or I use a variable to represent the total that I don't know. Then it's the cross multiplication like we've done before. I like to do the variable and the number first because I like to have that on the left-hand side of the equation. But you know what? It doesn't really matter because the equal sign tells you it doesn't matter which one you do first. Then 100 times 126. I know that when I multiply by 100, I get to add 2 zeros to the end, and that 1 doesn't change anything. But if I'm not confident with my math, and I know I'm going to go ahead and be dividing, I'm going to say 126 times 100 is equal to 12,600. I don't bother with my commas to show that just yet. Now I have a one-step equation. I am going to divide both sides by 84 because I want this guy to be all by itself, my unknown. And now I have x, and I am definitely going to use my calculator for that calculation. I could do long division, but I'm not going to. And I get 150. So my question asks me, how many students does she teach in all? And so I look at the things that I have and say, does that answer make sense? 84% have turned it in. She has collected 126. So 126 is 84% of this 150 students. So I would say, hey, that makes sense. I did the right thing. So I hope this helps a little bit, and I know it's long and lengthy, but I'm sure that you have been missing my voice teaching you step by step. So please take your time when you go through the quizzes. When you do the quiz assignment, make sure that you sign in with your name so that you'll get credit for your work. And have a good day.